So the question is, why am I here, why am I talking to this camera? And the journey starts 5 years ago with leadership. I'm an alumni supporter at Swinburne University and a donor to Swinburne. Anyway, I went to a grand dinner at the Hyatt with the Chancellor and the Vice-Chancellor and a substantial donors, and the conversation got onto the subject of leadership. So anyway, at that point in time, we'd had the global financial collapse, right? Almost systemic breakdown of the world financial system. Anyone speak out? They all knew it was coming. Nobody said a word. No leadership. So at the same time, we also had a Royal Commission with Jack Rush QC and the Fire Brigade and the Police Commissioner about the fires in Kinglake. 170 people burnt to death, or 73, I'm not sure of the number. Anyway, so they asked the Fire Commissioner, if you couldn't save them at Kinglake, why didn't you warn them? And he said, it's not my job. And they all fell backwards out of their chairs, raced for the books, lo and behold, wasn't his job. And then the Police Commissioner was brought in, and she had her memoirs done that night. She was out to dinner with friends, and she said, look, I had all the books on the shelf, the management styles, the processes. It was none of my affair. So Jack Rush QC at the end said, the summary is you two guys nominated yourself as leaders and presented as managers. So into my story and my experience in life. Born 45 and tail end of eons of mandated leadership. There was kings and monarchs and queens and tribal chiefs, and leadership was nominated. It wasn't on merit based. It was, financial influence and all that sort of stuff. I eventually came in the very tail end of that, and I remember writing a letter in letter writing in the 50s that's how I had to sign it, your obedient servant. So straight into the 60s and the good times and free love and all the, hippie communes and all that. And in that process, the old version of mandated leadership vanished, and it wasn't replaced by new leadership. It was replaced by management. To this day, no one in this world, and Swinburne University and all the rest of it, everyone is mistaking management for leadership. Statesmanship is closer to what we're looking for. People who think for the greater good, not about the latest shareholder price. We had a large supermarket chain here over the last 3 years. 165 charges of bad behaviour against its suppliers. That's systemic from the top down. They don't know what leadership is. They think it's raising the share price. So on and on we go. So I spoke to Swinburne, I said, let's look at leadership. So we had a few false starts and we had researchers and stuff. Anyway, we finally came to the realisation that it's such a huge subject. I can't talk to you or anyone very simply about leadership in words of one syllable. So we decided that the best way was an acupuncture point, that where we could start a conversation. So we all know the weather today is 24 degrees and the barometer says so much. We all know if we look in today's paper, we'll see the All Ordinary Index is up 50 points or down 200. So that doesn't tell you in detail about the stock market, it just says it's gone this way or that way. So we've come up with the Australian Leadership Index, right, which goes around a couple of thousand people in crafted, scientifically arranged interviews as to the state of leadership. And our first survey said, these are perceptions, not realities. The first survey discovered that 2/3 of Australians feel that politicians are in there for their own ends and not for the greater good. 2/3 of the respondents thought that that businesses were the same, that they only worried about the directors and certainly not about the consumers or the greater good once again. But the worst aspect of the whole survey, and these are perceptions, was that 2/3 of Australians thought that most Australians didn't care about their country or anything. And that was, if that was the case, we'd be a failed state. It's not so. So anyway, we're doing more surveys, and we do hope that this acupuncture point at Australian Leadership Index will lead a discussion as to where this country's going and what people want from politicians and business. And increasingly, we all understand it's about the greater good and what's good for the planet. So anyway, so during that journey, that was the leadership journey, I got on to Richard Hames and Centre for the Future. I thought I was crackers, actually, flogging a dead horse, and I heard Richard speak, and I said, where have you been all my life? I thought I was going mad. Either we're both mad or we're both on the right track. So that started a wonderful journey with Richard, who's one of the world's greatest futurists, one of the brightest men on the planet, described by Forbes magazine. He has great insight into the human condition and the human mind. So, and then joining forces with Richard, our first project, we come across Adam Jacoby and MiVote. And so this is a subset project of how the future should go. And Adam, of course, is an absolute genius. The most important things in life, I have a rare gift, actually. I can see the obvious. It's called common sense or something. And the more you look at MiVote, and I look at it every day and I think about it and I read the newspapers twice a day, morning and afternoon, and weep with the nonsense that's going on posing as democracy. Donald Trump and all the rubbish. And we know that everyone in the world is really something's wrong and something's got to be fixed. So the obvious thing is the iPhone, right? We can, our politicians and our leaders have the ability with this machine to be in constant contact with the community and know their daily aspirations. We don't want to know what they do every 5 minutes, but we've got a plebiscite coming up on gay marriage. Doesn't matter what anyone's view is, right? So this is an official plebiscite. But this, when MiVote's up and running, okay, there'll be an ongoing, anything before the Parliament will be the people will be able to express their views. And this is the whole essence of MiVote, online democracy. I'm very excited about it. They've just had some very exciting news. The best thing about it, anyone who's watching this, if you do delve into it, the more you look at it, you realise how obvious it is, how unavoidable it is. It's called democracy online. The online's changing your life. You are buying things online. You are doing everything online. You're buying air tickets online. Why not democracy? It's a walk-up start. And whether you like it or not, it's coming. And MiVote's going to be an instrumental part. Someone said, well, what, everyone's got arguments against it. What if the major parties do what you do and ask their members and their voters and the people who voted for them how they would like to vote? Well, that's easy. We win. Game, set, and match. That's exactly what we're after in the first place. So, but the trouble is they won't. They're ridden with ideology. They might put a blue view or a red view or a green view, but they won't put more than one view online. So democracy, MiVote is a mechanism. It's a double-edged sword. Nobody has to change their allegiance from red, blue or green. When this thing gets legs, and it will be a couple of million people saying on anything before the Parliament, this is what a couple of million people think, which is a whole lot better than Newspoll, which is based on 1,500 votes. So anyway, watch this space. It's so exciting. It's coming like a freight train, and I can't wait.